Hello, my name is Peter Yan, and today I'm going to introduce you my first game on Unity. Its name is Recoil Sokoban, and it's obviously based off of the classic game of Sokoban. The first thing that players might notice when opening my game, well, apart from my abysmal pixel art, is the change in player movement. So instead of implementing a free grid-based movement as found in traditional Sokoban, I added more conditions for player movement, as I wanted to mimic movement which comes from the recoil force a person receives when pushing off of an object. So I designed this whole movement system around this idea. As you can see, the player is now only allowed to move when next to a wall, and can only move a certain distance in the direction opposite to said wall. This creates limitations on the player's choices, creating interesting movement-based puzzles for them to solve. In later levels, I added more game objects to interact with the central movement mechanic in order to further build upon the foundations of my puzzle game. But before we get into that, I would like to talk about my central ideas for level design. When starting level design, I was intent on exploring every interaction and every aspect of the mechanics which I had made. So for every level, I was designing puzzles centered around a central mechanic or a central interaction between mechanics, such as level 5, which explores the box mechanic further. Instead of using the box as a platform for movement, I wanted the box to feel more as an obstacle in level 5. Hence we get this clustered level which the boxes actually block your movement more than they help you. Now let's get back to the mechanics. In level 4, I introduced boxes to the player, which are basically movable walls as they can be pushed off like walls, but then they'll move in the opposite direction when pushed. This allows the player to make their own paths towards the goal, encouraging players to plan before they make their move. This is one of the central ideas of my game, as I wanted players to plan their steps before their actions, which gives them much more pleasure in the aha moment. Apart from the box mechanic, I also added in two more central mechanics, the gate and the special areas, each of them distributed across two chapters that I've made. In the second chapter, I introduced the button and the gate. This mechanic is very simple as the button activates the gate and either makes it grow or shrink. However, the interaction that the gate has with other mechanics is the interesting part. The gate provides new ways of movement for the player and boxes, as the player can now be pushed by the gate and the boxes can be moved by the gate at a distance. The gate also acts as a regular wall, blocking the player and being able to push off of. This creates more things for the player to consider, and will make their puzzle-solving experience much more full and interesting. In the third and last chapter, I added in a mechanic which I called Special Space. It's basically an area in which players will move in the same way that traditional Sokoban does. I feel that this clash between movement rules will create interesting interactions with all other mechanics. In this chapter, I was able to create many puzzles based off the interactions between special space and other mechanics, such as the box and the gates. All in all, I felt good about my first game, though I wanted to further explore the recoil mechanic, but didn't have the time. Nor did I use every possible interaction between my mechanics to create levels. If I had the time and chance, I would definitely cook up more levels for this game, and also improve on my abysmal pixel art. I originally wanted this game to be set in an old people's home, with the main character being an old woman in a wheelchair, and the target as a tabby cat. However, my skills with pixels prevented me from doing so, and I had to go with a much simpler theme. Well, that's it for today, and I hope you enjoyed my video. Thank you for your time, and I hope you have a great day.